all keeping fairly well. Right, we know the storms that we had last January and over the winter months last year. But with all the millions that's been given to other countries, including the most recent one, Ireland are unprepared for future storms. Okay, a leading climate change expert has accused the government of, if you can even call them a government in today's world, guys, because there are other names for them apart from government. So a leading climate change expert has accused the government of failing to introduce even stick and plaster solutions that would ensure the country is better prepared for future storms. Professor Peter Thorne warned community hubs, which provided a lifeline to the 768,000 people left without power last January after Storm Owen, may not have enough electricity generators and stockpiles of food to deal with a similar crisis in 2025. Yeah, I am reading this, guys. The ESB faced renewed criticism after the state electricity company confirmed it would take some days to restore power to all affected homes and businesses. Professor Thorne said the lack of a government-led effort to learn the lessons from 2024 has left communities vulnerable when more storms hit over the coming months. He also said what should have been done before this storm season is, if you like, sticking plaster things that we can do, which is ensure there are community hubs ready to go, stocked with food, generators, etc., etc., so people can get somewhere warm, especially our elderly, have a shower, recharge their phones and connect with people. For many of the very young, the very old, and the medically vulnerable, that is an absolute necessity. Nothing formally has happened on the community hubs, but clearly lessons were learned, at least by some local authorities. There has not been a government-led coordinated action or effort, which is what we really need. But folks, these millions that's been given to other countries, when our little island has numerous problems itself, is unreal. Citizens are far too quiet in this country. They are what we refer to as silent citizens. They let XYZ happen in their own country. When the money that's been funded or given out to other countries could easily be used in Ireland for various different things. We've already had one storm and we are almost sure to have more, and his fear is that we don't have immediate remedial efforts in place in time. Folks, this is in reference to Ireland being unprepared for future storms. Almost 750,000 households and businesses were left without power when Storm Owen hit last January. Some customers had to wait up to 3 agonising weeks before their power was finally restored. Storm Owen made landfall 6 weeks after Storm Dara had left around 395,000 homes and businesses in the dark. DSB is the country's sole distributor of electricity, and its network of cables is used to provide power to every household and business throughout Ireland. In return, the semi-state company is paid a set amount of money for providing this service. DSB has consistently refused to confirm how many of its 2.2 million customers have been affected by power cuts in recent years. despite the fact that this information is freely available in other countries. The semi-state company, whose CEO was paid $372,946 in 2024, has also refused to provide a breakdown of where these outages occurred. However, it has previously been revealed the ESB has been hit with penalties totaling more than €55 million for leaving customers without power. These fines were not for blackouts caused by storms or poor weather conditions, but for faults in the energy firm's own system. The ESB again declined to provide specific data relating to the extent of power outages nationwide this past weekend. Asked how much the company has spent upgrading its network, a spokeswoman would only say ESB Networks is investing heavily each year to maintain and enhance service levels and resilience in our work. But folks, do you honestly want to see such things happen as happened last January with Storm Owen? I wouldn't think so. Professor Thorne urged the government to invest significant more to protect communities from extreme weather events. The Department of Housing, Local Government and Heritage has produced a plan but has gone to other departments for approval, and really it should be prepared for this storm season. Instead of going through it now, folks, when we are approaching, in fact, we are in that season. This storm response plan was promised by the end of the summer, in time for this storm season, and here we are sitting pretty, one storm into the storm season, with the plan in the system somewhere, and no one knows where that plan is. The Department of Housing said the National Storm Review will be signed off early next month after a storm task force submits its recommendations tomorrow, folks. A spokesman also said, to clarify, this is not a plan, it is a review. It is a review of the coordination of national response to Storm Owen. It has now been completed and has been submitted to the Government Task Force for observation and approval. Members of the Government Task Force have been given until close of business, which is tomorrow, to submit their observations in relation to the review. Be interested to see, will that be submitted or not? Once the observations have been incorporated into the review, it is expected it will then be finalised and submitted to government before the beginning of November. But folks, any that's in business or even running an ordinary household knows that if you had problems before due to storms, you make sure you don't have them same problems again. But here we are with a government that has nothing planned or prepared for future storms. Mind you, folks, the electricity bills keep rising. But folks, what are they doing, or where is funding going? Ireland's a great country to fund other countries, but folks, with the amount of problems this little island has, particularly with truthful numbers being told between hidden homeless and homeless, it's something in the region of between 40 and 50,000 that's currently homeless on this little island of Ireland. If an Irish person goes into the county council today and they want to be accommodated, there is no accommodation available for them, because what's entered the country in recent years have been prioritised over Irish-born citizens, which is totally and utterly wrong to even allow it to happen in this country. Right, folks? Citizens are going to have to get up off their arses and become vocal in this country before we're already a laughingstock worldwide. But don't let it get any worse, because we are a laughingstock worldwide. It's getting worse by the day. So, folks, are we going to allow that to keep going the way it is? Allow a so-called government to keep making fun of Irish citizens when Irish citizens could be getting up off their holes and getting vocal about what's been happening in Ireland since 2020, guys, because it's only going to get an awful lot worse. Approaching this winter and nothing prepared for future storms, folks, is unreal. It's unbelievable. But that's when you have a controversial government in situ. That's all you can expect. But it's up to the Irish-born citizens to do something about this controversial government that's been allowed in existence for far, far too long. Okay, guys, enjoy the rest of your day.